You know what they say about boats. Yeah, you know what they say about boats. It's a hole in the water you toss your money into. And what am I doing? Drilling holes in the deck. Maybe I need a hole in the head. I don't know who used to own this boat before I ended up with it, but whoever took out the deck fills that used to be here did a very poor job of patching the deck. So what I'm doing is reinstalling deck fills, so of course I don't have any leaks, and I have deck fills for the water tank and so forth. This is when you find out how thick and how tough your deck is. Ha!
You know, ever since I've had sailboats, I've always been working on sailboats. There was the Shock 22, which is now a fish condo with 60 feet of water in Lake Erie. And then there's the catboat, which was cool, but it was mostly all wood, and that was a real pain, and I was constantly chasing dry rot in the wood. So I needed something different, and thanks to George Bush, I got this. It was that tax refund a few years ago, got $500 and spent it on a boat from Dead Boat Row in Irwin 23, and look at the mess it was in. The garbage below, the bottom of the bulkheads, you can tell had a little problem, so we bought it, $500, and started cleaning it up and painting and sanding and trying to get it ready for putting it into the water. Of course, that's the whole idea. After we cleaned out the cabin, there were problems to tackle. The bulkhead still had issues. The wood in the bulkheads looked great until you looked down at the bottom. So we painted, cleaned it, painted, sanded, varnished, and ta-da! There it is, almost ready to go in the water. Now, let's see if she floats. Yep, taking it to the lift. Lift goes backing into the water. Oh, she floats! Hooray! Big celebration. In fact, it's party time. I built a little table. It worked pretty good. But the bulkhead was a problem. Linda put up curtains. It was livable, but it still was showing its age. But of course, you know, you gotta go out and sail. As well as work on the boat. You know how that goes. And sail. And sail. And just enjoy the fact that you're on the water. Well, that bulkhead really needed help. I had to reinforce it because of the soft wood in there. As you can see, the wood strips take some of the strain and spread the load from the chain plates, which of course is what's holding the mast up. But I needed to do something, so it's time to rip out the old bulkheads. Yeah, the rot was really getting to it once I discovered that the chain plate bolt holes are being elongated from the pressure of the rig. So I ripped it out and started working on plans to make it better. And then, of course, you kind of look at it and go, oh boy, what have I gotten myself into now? Because now it's reaching the point of no return. There's Linda, who was helping me out. Yeah, I mean, look at that. Oh, now I have to do something. I hauled the bulkhead to the dock, put it on cardboard to do a cardboard template of the replacement while it still held its shape. Look at that rot. I mean, it was really a mess. So we get our cardboard template and cut it out, then take it back on board and try and see how it fits. Yeah, it fit pretty good. Minor alterations still need to be made. So then I cut it into the shape that I wanted it. I wanted an open cabin. Those bulkheads were stupid in a small boat. And of course, after I ripped out the starboard bulkhead, I'm looking at the port bulkhead, and it too has a problem. And as you can see, the chain plate bolts were really rusted through. So here I'm cutting for real the new bulkheads. That's the starboard bulkhead in a test fitting. Had to go back and forth, you know, 200-mile round trip to the house every time I did something, and fit it on the boat and have to go back to make alterations. And it's me going, I'm a little old for this shit. So I was putting in the bulkheads, test fitting them, making alterations, but the other problem was, of course, the mast compression. Without the bulkheads there, I had to make an arch to spread the load. So I made the arch, and fit it in there pretty good. And then I had to get the wood trim to varnish and cut it into the proper lengths for the bulkheads. There's a fitting test right there. It fits pretty good, before obviously putting it on for good. The bulkheads still weren't attached then. I still was taking them back and forth. Well, it looks good with the arch. Yeah, it's coming along. And that cabin opened up real nice. And like I say, it's a 23-foot boat, so you really can't do a whole lot in the cabin. Those bulkhead walls were stupid. They were tiny. So to attach the bulkheads, the new ones, I had to go cut away the tabbing with my Dremel tool. That's the side after I ripped out the carpet. You can see on the port side in this shot of the bow, the carpet. I ripped it all out and then, of course, had to glass in the bulkheads. You can see the glassing going in progress there. You can see the chain plate, and of course, once I ripped it off, you can see the rust. So it's looking pretty good with the arch. Man, I'm tired. This is too much like work. I'm too old for this shit. So then, of course, I had to prime the sides of the hull there after the carpet was ripped out so I could paint it and then put sealing on. That was the plan. Put my table from my old shock there, and it looks pretty good. And now it's bottom cleaning time and sanding time. You can see the wood looking pretty good after being sanded down. And then, of course, many coats of varnish. And in the cabin, I'm working on the cabin sole, sort of faking a cabin sole while the boat was out of the water. And of course, more painting, more sanding, more varnishing, and Linda taking a break there. It was a good spot to read. So now, the bulkheads are in for good, chain plates being attached, and I had to fix the area on the deck where the chain plates came through, totally ripping them out, and of course sealing and so forth, and having to rebed them, and of course attach them to the new bulkheads. Oy, that's a lot of work. I'm getting too old for this shit. So it's starting to look pretty good now. The hull, another coat of paint. I'm putting on a gold cove stripe along the side of the hull. Linda's painting the mast. I hated that anodized gold look. I wanted white, and I got white. And it's looking pretty good. And I'm working on the cabin sole, my fake cabin sole, and it's looking pretty nice. The hull looks great. She's ready to go back in the water. Looking good. On the inside of the cabin walls, I put what's known as sealing. And sailing, of course, we have different terms for stuff you would consider normal. Sealing is not on the roof. Sealing is on the cabin walls. Go figure. All that wood gave the cabin a nice warm touch. And Linda is going, ta-da! Look at that. Yeah, it looks good. So, of course, we had to go out and go sailing. After all, what's a sailboat for? And there's Linda telling me she hates the camera by giving me a one-finger peace sign. And so now that the boat was looking good, I had to do the dinghy. Same way. Paint it and, put it back in the water, and it looks good. I'd say I'm about halfway there. The cabin looking good. I still have work to do. There's still more wood to put in. I wasn't so sure that just having a compression arch was the best route to go, so I ended up putting in 2 compression posts on either side of the walkway up forward into the V-berth. But yeah, gotta go sailing. You go to the boat, planning to work on it, the wind is up, and you go, okay, I'm going sailing. And even though it's a 10-mile lake, and then you gotta come out and go back, it's still pretty good. I pretend I'm on the bay. So the boat looks great, anchored off the beach there. Now you can see in this interior shot, I put wood trim between the bottom of the arch and the bulkhead, and it's looking pretty good. You can see the compression posts I put in. Up at the V-berth, I put a door to the forepeak, and I put in a hanging closet. It's pretty functional too. So this is what it looks like with the table down. Port side is the kitchen. Starboard side is Linda's berth. And of course, here's the V-berth. And now this is the way it looks with the table up. And it looks pretty good, but you don't have a whole lot of space below to sit and just kind of stretch out when the table is up. I tend to like to keep it down. Speaking of down, here are the deck fills. Here we go. That's what the deck looked like. And now I'm drilling away. Got to solve that problem of possible water getting into the core of the deck. Seal the core, and then I'm going to put the deck fill. Actually, one is a water fill and the other is a waste pump out. And that's what it looks like when it's done.
So, as you can see, a lot of work's gone into the boat since the last time you saw it in video 2.5 years ago. And I got a lot more to do. So I better get to work.